I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to episode 83 of the Best Thing We've Seen podcast. My name is Flo.
And I'm Gabe. How are you?
Doing okay, man. I am a bit under the weather, but tested and everything, and it's not that. But still struggling, so my voice is aching, but we'll push through this. How you doing?
I'll do the heavy lifting today.
Thank you.
I'm good. One of my favorite parts of recording these episodes is the beginning, because what our listeners don't hear is you just saying something and just without skipping a beat going over to welcome back to another episode. It always takes me by surprise when we start an episode. And I love it. This is why you might hear me laughing in the background sometimes.
I think every week.
Every week.
You finally explained it, yeah.
But yeah, I'm fine. I'm tired as always, but no surprise there. I had some amazing food that I cooked and a very bad cup of tea. But apart from that, I'm quite good.
Did you cook the tea yourself as well?
I suppose.
Yeah.
Do you cook tea?
Well, you boil the water yourself?
Sure.
Yeah.
But I think you're dark tea. You're only supposed to cook for or keep in the cup for like 3 minutes or something, and I forgot about it, so I took it out after like 30 minutes and it was quite bitter.
And ice cold?
It was still hot, surprisingly.
Wow.
Good cup, I guess, keeping in the warmth. But it was disgusting, but I forced it down anyway.
Yeah, that's how I know you. Man, I'm loving this conversation already.
Something different, you know?
Yeah. How was your week in terms of watching things?
In terms of like quality, quite good. In terms of how much I watched, not that much.
In terms of quality, quite good.
Yeah.
See, wow, I was expecting more, but sure, we'll dive into it.
Well, I've seen something very good and something very meh. So
okay, well,
I guess the average is it's quite good. How about you? How was your week?
Well, yeah, I got two things this week,
Mm-hmm.
and one is pretty bad, and the other one I'm still not sure about. So,
okay,
you told me beforehand you had three things, right?
Yes.
And I think it is your turn to start this week. So please tell everyone how the show works, and then, yeah, you got some honorables to discuss.
Sure.
Yeah.
So welcome back to another regular episode of ours, where we talk about the best thing we've seen all week. Anything from a TV show to a movie to even a YouTube video. We try to keep it relatively up to date. We try to mention newer things that have come out in the last 6 months or so. And as always, we're going to start off with a couple of honorable mentions and then work our way to the best thing that we've seen all week, which I think we both have a feeling what the other person might say.
Well, I have no idea what else you've seen, to be fair.
Yes, but I think our honorable, or quote-unquote honorable mentions, because apparently we both didn't like it too much, could be the same thing.
No.
Could be wrong, though. Okay, no. Definite no. All right, we'll see about that. And I got one more thing that I saw this week, which is a YouTube thing.
Yep.
Once again, that I watched, I think, technically last week.
Right.
Like right before we recorded our last episode. But I had so much other stuff to talk already, and I wasn't sure if I managed to finish it. And we're like, all right, let's watch a little thing while I waited for us to record. And that is, I think it's called Hyper Realistic Hollow Knight 3D Fan Film. Do you know what Hollow Knight is, by any chance?
I mean, I think I understood one word of that. No.
Well, Hollow Knight is a video game, an indie game that came out a couple of years ago, won quite a few prizes. It's a great game. The greatest thing about this video game is the atmosphere. And a lot of it is, I think, hand-drawn. And it's a 2D game about insects living in like this abandoned kingdom. Sounds quite boring, I know. But if you look at the art style, it's beautiful, and the sound design and the music and everything. And somebody made a 3D fan film, and it's done by the 3D print guy. So I'm not sure if there's some 3D printed elements in there, because it has this very Tim Burton-esque, or, like the movie Coraline by the studio. What's it called? Do you remember? That also did the Bigfoot movie.
I love that question, and I can't think of the answer.
Like Leica? Something
Leica.
like Leica.
Yeah, you got it.
The camera.
Yeah. I think that's right. That's definitely a studio. Right? I don't know what films they've made, but yeah.
What was the last one? I even talked about it with Hugh Jackman.
With Zach Galifianakis?
Yeah, I think so.
What was that called again? It was called Missing Link?
Missing Link, that's correct. And it's got elements of that. It seems very much like it's made in stop motion, so there might be some 3D printed elements in there, but there's also animation, or maybe the whole thing was animated and just is made to look as if it was made in stop motion. And it is beautifully made, especially for a fan film. If they made a film about this video game by any chance, which doesn't feature any dialogue, really, this would be the way to go. And I think this is the way many like adaptations of like video games should go, because things are animated. It's the best way to translate it, and it's just hauntingly beautiful, especially since it's made by one guy or like a very small team. So definitely check that out. He's also got videos on like Among Us in hyper realistic mode, where it's more set up like a horror movie, and it's got several parts on that. Yeah, pretty cool. And I can't fucking wrap my mind around how that was made, especially by, like I said, one guy or like a small team, because I watched behind the scenes of like Missing Link, and it's fucking, Jesus Christ, it's just unbelievable to me that somebody could even do that.
Yeah.
But sure.
It's the same studio that did Kubo, right? Kubo and the Two Strings?
That's right, yeah. Wasn't that we read like the biggest like stop motion like puppet ever made for
that
Kubo?
sounds right. Yeah. It's
great.
Insane how they do this. I have no idea. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so that was one honorable mention. So I'm gonna mention another, and let's see if we both watch this.
No, we haven't. But go on. I know
which
I haven't.
Is the new Netflix release, Kate.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Okay, so is your like thing a YouTube thing, or is
it's a flat out movie?
Okay, interesting.
You'll know, and you'll the penny's gonna drop in a second.
Sure. So yeah, Kate is a new movie that dropped on Netflix like a week ago when this comes out, and it is a action movie, very much in the vein of like Crank and John Wick, maybe a mixture of both of those elements. And I read some IMDb reviews, and it's also like one of the headlines is, I've seen this before just in a different combination or something like that. And that's a very good pretty much synopsis of the plot, or like what kind of movie this is, since it is an action movie about a hitman, or I guess hit woman, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who plays an assassin who gets poisoned and then has about a day left to find the person who's responsible for that, and has to kill whoever's responsible. Yeah, and this is all set in Japan, in Tokyo and Osaka. And it's got some nice action, but the story is quite bad. It's just ill-written. The character's dialogue is just so bad. And there's also another character that comes up, played by Miko Patricia Martino.
Sure.
Probably said that wrong. Anyway, and they kind of team up. You'll see it right when you see the poster, pretty much. And it's just so badly done, sadly. But the action's quite good. I mean, have you seen this on Netflix, like the preview?
Yeah, no, for sure. But once it came out, I heard nothing but bad things about it. So, and I'm not the biggest Mary Elizabeth Winstead fan anymore. I don't know.
What changed your mind on her?
Well, she was in Birds of Prey, wasn't she? And didn't really love her there. I loved her as like, what was it, Ramona in
Scott Pilgrim.
And there was another thing that she was in
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Sure. I like that movie.
Yeah, I thought she was great there.
But there was an earlier one too. She's in the Tarantino one, the Death Proof.
Is she?
Yeah, Death Proof.
Oh, I didn't even remember that, but it's been a long time since I saw that one.
Yeah. I don't know. I recently I haven't really enjoyed her work, but and Kate seemed like when I first heard of that film, it seemed like a very, very Netflixy type of movie that I'm never gonna watch, and that's just like it has average written all over it, and I've not seen it, so I can't really comment on it. That's just how I thought of it.
I mean, it looks great at times. It's got this very neon noir like feeling, especially since a lot of the scenes are set at night and in Tokyo, and you've got those buildings with big like advertisements and like clips playing on the side of them. Kind of reminds you of Blade Runner. It looks quite stylish at times, and yeah, like I said, the action scenes are quite good. I recently rewatched some Marvel movies, and they're great, but I gotta say, especially in the earlier works, like in the Captain America vs. the Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
or
not versus, but yeah.
And Winter Soldier. The action scenes, especially towards the beginning, aren't that great, or at least it's not the kind of action that I like, since it's got many like fast-paced cuts and very close camera work, very shaky, quite similar to the Bourne Identity, which I'm not a fan of for that exact reason. Because at least I can't really see what's going on. I love these like wide shots of action where you really see what you're doing. I mean, I'm sure it's way harder to pull off since the actors or the stunt people have way more work to do, of course, because the hits gotta look like they connect and everything. And here, as like they did in, for example, John Wick, you got these wide scenes of them like fighting, and you got more time to observe the action, which I thought looked great.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I enjoy the action in Winter Soldier a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
And even in Bourne. So I think we might have different tastes there.
Sure. I guess I'm, like I say so often, I'm in a minority with my opinion there, probably. I know those movies, especially like the Bourne Identity or Beloved movies, I just don't love them. But
fair enough.
That's something that I appreciated about this movie. Although like I said, the story and especially dialogue, horrendous.
You got Woody Harrelson. Yeah, because sorry, I thought you forgot about him, but there it is.
No, yeah, Woody Harrelson, and yeah, he is very average. I mean, he's a great,
very bald.
Still is, yeah. Even in this movie,
he's great in this.
No, but great actor, very mediocre role.
Okay.
So I don't have too much good to say about this movie, except if you're really looking for an action movie and you just want to see good action and don't really give a fuck about like character development or shit like that, go see that. I mean, it's got character development, just badly done, in my opinion. I know I sound very... Like, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I don't. But this is a movie podcast, so I'm going to pretend like I do.
Yeah, you're giving away all the secrets today.
Right, so that's my honorable mention for this week.
Yeah, it's directed by the guy who did The Huntsman and The Ice Queen. Maybe that's the selling point to some people.
Did he? Because I looked up some of the stuff, like what he's known for. I mainly saw that he did for most of these things like visual effects. I wasn't sure if he also directed things before.
Yes, the only big thing he directed before was The Huntsman and The Ice Queen, which is the sequel to Snow White and the Huntsman, I think.
Oh, I haven't
seen any of it. Yeah, I haven't seen it.
I've seen the original. It was better than expected, but not great.
Was that the one with Kristen Stewart?
Yeah.
Is
the second one not with Kristen Stewart anymore?
I wouldn't know.
Okay.
I would not know. I think the second one is with Emily Blunt and Jessica Chastain. No?
Interest? Maybe? Sure.
I don't even know why. I'm mixing things up here. I don't know.
I don't even know why I watched the first one. So and I don't remember a lot, except I think there's a topless scene with Chris Hemsworth, because I think that's just in all of his contracts now.
Well, that's why you watched it.
Most likely.
Yeah, there's the answer.
Forgot that actually on my honorable list for a Kristen Stewart special. So there we go.
See? Yeah.
So what's your honorable mention for this week?
Well, because we have a big movie to discuss in a second, let's throw this away.
Sure.
Which is Spiral, the Book of Saw.
Of course.
Spiral from the Book of Saw, or also known as just Spiral or Saw Spiral, well, however you want to call it. It's the latest film in the Saw franchise.
I call it the Chris Rock Saw.
You call it the Chris Rock Saw? Yeah, sure. It stars Chris Rock. You got Sam Jackson And Max Minghella. Now, Max Minghella is the guy who plays Divya Narendra in Social Network. Do you remember him?
Jesus, no. The name sounds familiar, but I think I'm thinking about Frank Langella.
Sure. Well, no, but Max Minghella's father is Anthony Minghella, and he's also a director. He directed the Matt Damon, Jude Law one, Talented Mr. Ripley.
Oh, okay. You sure?
I think. But hold on. I need to look up, what did I say? Divya Narendra, right? That's correct. Now we're looking up, what did I just say? Talented Mr. Ripley. Talented Mr. Ripley. Anthony Minghella, right. So he's in the Social Network, he's the friend of the twins who's also suing Zuckerberg. The third guy. Do you remember him?
Oh, don't remember, gotta say. No.
He's also in Ides of March. I don't know. I like that guy a lot.
I'm gonna look him up.
Yeah,
sure.
So I was happy to see him in a Saw film. I was happy to see him in anything really because he hasn't really been in a mainstream movie in a while, as far as I know. And I like the Saw series. I really do. A couple of years ago, I decided to give them a go, and I've watched all of them by now. And so I wanted to see Spiral, and it is really a poor entry in the series. It's first of all, I'm not a fan of Chris Rock. Sorry, Chris. Especially his acting too. I mean, some of his comedy I enjoy, but overall, I'm just not the biggest Chris Rock fan. I think he wrote no, he didn't write, but he produced it, right, or something like that. He was behind. I
think so, yeah.
He was behind this one. It is directed by the guy who directed like Saw 2, 3, and 4. So he sort of returned back, which was something that I was actually excited about. But Darren Lynn Bousman. I don't know how to pronounce his name. And it's written by the same guys who did the last entry, which is Jigsaw, which I actually really enjoyed. So, but once again, the newest one didn't really do it for me. And I'm not going to give plots on Spiral is not going to be of interest to anybody who, if you're a fan of the Saw series, you're going to watch this. And basically, it's about them trying to find the latest killer. Or is it Jigsaw again, or is it someone who's trying to pretend to be Jigsaw? And obviously, Chris Rock is teaming up with Max Minghella, and Sam Jackson plays Chris Rock's father. And he gets lost along the way, and they have to find him. And it's okay, you know. I really don't know what else to talk about here. It's got an okay ending, and
is the setup similar to like the first Saw? Because that's the only one I saw, where you have both like seeing what is happening. I think also somebody investigating, but you also get like a view of the people being tested. Or is this more a straightforward detective story?
I would say, well, the thing about the first Saw is that it's large parts of it is just in the one room.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is a lot more open. And all the Saw movies have been ever since. They're not like as contained as the first one is, if I remember correctly. I mean, they are contained to like houses and like big factories or whatever. But in Saw, in the first one, it's really just one room. And this one is really, it plays in a detective office, and they're sort of driving towards new crime scenes. So it's got a lot more locations than the first one.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's got some gruesome deaths, some torture scenes. You got to have the stomach for it. But I was hoping for more, and I was hoping it was going to revitalize the franchise even more, but it didn't really do that. And you know, some things were predictable, some things weren't, but even those things that weren't kind of left me like going, yeah, okay, sure. I mean, yeah, I guess you had to do that or whatever. But let's move on.
Sure.
To your pick of the week, which is my pick of the week, which is a film that we've been looking forward to for, I don't even know when they first announced this film. It's been postponed like last year for another year due to COVID, and now we finally got to see it. Which is obviously Dune, but since it's your turn to start, your turn to pick, and you're good with plot, I'll let you start off, please.
I mean, thank you for that. I mean, the plot is complicated. There's a lot of like intricacies, and I think we can say that about Dune. This is not the full movie. There's going to be another one, and this is very much just a setup for the whole story. But nevertheless, great experience, and it's very much a sci-fi movie, like Denis Villeneuve, the director, has done before now. Apparently, also as a preparation for this, because this is like his love child, what he wanted to do since he was a child. Yes. Huge fan of the books, apparently. And Dune is a big book series, and there have been multiple attempts at making this into a film. One successful one, successful. One actually came out, others were scrapped. But this is like the big revitalization of this big sci-fi universe. And it's a different take on the whole thing. It is in a future universe where people don't rely as much on computers. So it's not as sci-fi techy as, for example, Star Wars. And it's with empires and big armies and planets. And one of those planets is a desert planet, planet Arrakis. Is that the right word?
Arrakis.
Arrakis. Which is covered in a desert. Hence the name Dune, like desert, dunes, sand dunes. Which in this desert is full with spice, a certain material that is, I guess, first of all, a hallucinogenic drug used by the indigenous people there, but also used as space fuel, which of course starts a big war and exploitation of the area, and finally somebody else takes over the area and is allowed to have a say there, which is a noble family with the main character's family involved, who's played by Timothée Chalamet, the protagonist, who comes there with his family trying to change things, but it is difficult and there's a lot of intricacy. It's like a sci-fi Game of Thrones in a way, with a lot of backstabbing and a power play. And yeah, I think that's a fairly good description. And it takes place on that planet. And yeah, it's a power struggle. And it's about Timothée Chalamet being maybe this so-called chosen one or messiah of the people who live there. And if he is or isn't, I guess we'll have to wait until we see the full... is it a trilogy or just 2 movies that are going to come out? Or I guess you could read the books, but...
You can watch the other film, which we've done.
Who would want to do that? Because in my opinion, this is beautifully done. And I think if anybody could do such a movie, it is Denis Villeneuve. We're both huge fans of his. And he has a great eye for just visual spectacles. And this is what this was once again. And I'm so glad we could watch this in cinemas.
Yeah. I think it's supposed to be just a sequel, just a part 2. I don't think it's supposed to be a trilogy, but I might be wrong there. But I think the second one is sort of going to be maybe the last one. I'm not sure. I mean, there's spin-offs and everything, but I think it's going to be a 2-parter.
Right. Did I miss anything?
I don't know, man. I mean, obviously Oscar Isaac, he's his dad, and Rebecca Ferguson is his mom, and they're sort of Oscar Isaac is the guy in charge, but Paul, played by Timothée Chalamet, obviously. His son, and he's gonna be the heir eventually. Sort of him, trying to deal with that basically, and preparing himself for that, and all the skills he needs, and accepting his fate or not. Yeah, because I mean, like I said, it's less technology and more, I guess, not magic, but there's like this invisible power that some people have, including the protagonist Paul. Yeah. Let's run a little clip.
Trailer,
sure.
Yeah.
Of course we do. Of course
Perfect.
we do. Here's a little clip for Dune.
My planet Arrakis is so beautiful when the sun is low. Rolling over the sands, you can see spice in the air. The outsiders ravage our lands in front of our eyes. Their cruelty to my people is all I've known. What's to become of our world? Paul.
A boy.
Hey, Duncan, can I trust you with something?
Yes, always. You know that.
I've been having dreams about a girl on Arrakis. I don't know what it means.
Dreams make good stories. But everything important happens when we're awake. Look at you. Put on some muscle?
I did?
No.
We are House Atreides. There is no call we do not answer. There is no faith that we betray.
Smile, Gurney.
I am smiling.
The Emperor asks us to bring peace to Arrakis. House Atreides accepts!
I know you. There's something awakening in my mind.
ever need to face your fears,
Come with me.
Right? I mean, what you probably just heard is some fucking epic music, because that is what most Denis Villeneuve movies feature. And here I think the soundtrack or the score was made by Hans Zimmer, who has done like half of all movies by now, it feels like. And I think this is an amazing score.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I like Hans Zimmer, he's everywhere. He's done some very cool stuff, some very okay stuff, I think. I mean, it's so hard to imagine that somebody can still be creative after like scoring 150 movies or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's really pulled it off. He's got that very much Denis Villeneuve sound, like these very epic and deep sounds. And I loved it. I think you really feel like you were there. And this, like we said, like this magic element of people like mind controlling other people. And the sound that they used for that, you really feel like, you know, you're being like spoken to like that, and you feel like the power they hold over other people. I thought it was just a great experience. I mean, what did you think of the movie? We didn't talk about it too much after the movie ended.
We saw this, 3 days ago?
I think
Wednesday,
so.
right?
4.
We're recording this on Saturday.
Yeah, 4 days. No, 3 days. I'm so sorry.
I've rarely struggled so much to put my thoughts together on a film. So I don't even know where to begin. You said in the beginning you're going to carry this episode, so I was gonna drive along and sort of you lead the way. But I am struggling with this film. I mean, so I said it, I don't even know where to begin, because from the get-go, it was like I had two films that I was really excited about. Like last year, because this was also supposed to come out last year, which was David Fincher's Mank and Denis Villeneuve's Dune. Now, both of those films I would have literally zero interest in if they weren't directed by those two guys.
Yeah,
right?
I get it. Sure.
I don't want to watch a film about the writer of Citizen Kane. I mean, under circumstances I do, but not really. And Dune, I saw the Lynch version, and I didn't enjoy that at all. So if it wasn't for Villeneuve doing this one, I wasn't going to run out to see this one. So going into this, I was like, and watching the trailers and everything, I was like, yeah, I mean, I used the analogy yesterday, which I actually quite enjoyed. You know, Lynch and Villeneuve, they made two completely different films, but they're still cooking with the same frying pan. You know, they can use different ingredients, but in the end, it's still Dune. And I don't really enjoy that world as much as other people do. Now, I can't really say anything bad about the film, but it's just like, it's not, I don't appreciate, I don't immerse myself, and I don't really love the lore and world building of Dune. That's why I'm still like putting my thoughts together. And like, I loved everything. It's an epic film. I want to watch more films like this. I mean, it's got like 165 million budget. And you see every single penny and cent used. I mean, it's a gorgeous film, and I was so happy to see it in cinemas too, in IMAX as well. But the story, and I knew beforehand that it was supposed to be 2 parts. It's interesting because in the marketing, it's never really said, right? But then you sit in the theater and you get like a title card, and it says Dune Part 1 right from the get-go, so you kind of know that it's not going to end in the most satisfying way, maybe. And for me, I really don't know how to judge this film until I've seen the second one. And this, because even he said it, I watched some interviews, now that he's built this whole world, now he's got an open playground to do whatever he wants. And I feel like that's what this movie needs. And the first part needed that. And obviously it's not set up to be like that. They need the first one to build it up, and then the second one, if they can make it, which I hope they can, if a lot of people see this, and if they're allowed to do the second one, then it's going to be an interesting one. And I have a feeling that the second one would be much more up my alley, because the first one did feel like a whole like 2.5 hour exposition film to sort of set up a much more grand story.
I gotta say, I completely agree. First of all, with the universe, it's not my favorite either, and I don't think I would have loved it as much as if it hadn't been for Villeneuve. There's other sci-fi universes that I appreciate more, like the more I don't know, yeah, sci-fi, what you imagine, like big star battles, whatever. It's way more subdued than that. It feels like more like a medieval tale set in space, since they use like swords and it's like empires and kings and dukes or whatever on different planets, pretty much. So with that part, I do agree, and also with that it doesn't feel finished, which I don't think it is. Yeah, I mean, it is Dune Part 1, but more like, there should be an intermission and then Part 2 plays. I completely agree with that it is just the beginning of the film, and so it's hard to judge it upon that as a movie in itself. I gotta say, it was great to see, just wonderful spectacle to watch. But yeah, you're right. It will be hard to judge without like having seen the second part, which is going to be like the deciding factor. Because if the second one should be bad, then it's hard to watch the first one, because it is, it is just the first half of chapters of the book, I would imagine. So yeah, it would be quite disappointing.
I'm surprised to hear you say this. I mean, everything. I thought you loved it, but that's just I was just guessing. I thought
I loved the movie for what it was, and I loved the spectacle, and I thought it looked great. It felt great, and I thought the story was cool. Since it was made in a very cool way. But if it had been done by anybody else, I wouldn't have watched like for the story. And still, here there are elements of the story that I didn't love. But that's more, I guess, my problem with like the books or like the source material than with the actual movie. But yeah.
Right. Did you have issues as well with like some of the, because I've read a lot of people, I've read a lot of articles saying that the score was also, it's a beautiful score, but there were issues with the sound mixing, that the score was like louder than the dialogue. I mean, obviously louder, but as loud that you couldn't even hear the dialogue.
I didn't really think it was more an issue with like the score. I guess maybe sound mixing. At times, what I felt like, especially when Rebecca Ferguson's character, Lady Jessica, spoke, I felt like I couldn't quite understand it sometimes, because she spoke quite very quietly and mumbled a little. I mean, she was in a stressful situation, but I didn't get everything she said at those times when it's like set during a sandstorm, for example.
Sure.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, but I didn't think it was ever an issue with like the music in the background.
Yeah.
How about you?
No, it's literally like one or two scenes where I was struggling to hear what was going on. I mean, comparing it to Tenet, that was way worse. Tenet was way worse.
Yeah.
So I was surprised to hear that as well. But even the friends that we saw it with, or one friend, he mentioned as well that it was at times even too loud for him to understand what was going on. And I can kind of understand that, but I was sort of, trying to enjoy the visceral experience of like, fucking, I don't know how loud those loudspeakers were, but fuck me.
Yeah, but I gotta say, for anybody listening, and I know there are a lot of people who like wait for them, those kind of movies to come out on, like, I don't know, Netflix or DVD or
HBO Max.
Somewhere in the or
this
somewhere in the
this
internet.
One on HBO Max. Yeah.
Don't do that with this movie. Denis Villeneuve, first of all, was very outspoken against like it being put on streaming platforms so soon, because there was a plan, and I do completely agree with this movie, since it is, like we said, it's like a spectacle. It's a great sound, great visuals, and all of that is kind of lost if you're not going to watch it on a big screen. And though the story is interesting, I don't think it's necessarily the greatest part of this. So yeah, definitely do watch in cinemas if you can, or feel safe to do so.
Yeah. What was your favorite scene? Well, what were some of your favorite scenes?
That's tough. I really liked the beginning. Like, for example, the pain scene. I did really like that. I liked like when the what's it called? Like the entourage of the Emperor or whatever, like coming out of the spaceship. I thought it looked so great. I don't know.
The pain scene, you mean the one with the Rampling? Charlotte Rampling? Yeah. That was one of my favorite scenes too.
Yeah.
And Rebecca Ferguson's reaction outside.
I gotta say about Rebecca Ferguson.
Oh God, here we go.
I know.
Here we go.
You're gonna hate a part of me, but wait a second. Wait for it.
I already do.
I wasn't a huge fan of Rebecca Ferguson. I just haven't seen her in a lot. Nowhere like where she blew me away, and I'm not as enamored with her as you are, which is fine. But I gotta say, in this movie, she was great. I loved her reaction to certain scenes.
I thought you just said you don't like her.
Yeah, like in general, I don't have like a great connection to her. Like I know you love her.
We have a great connection.
You to her, not she to you. I'm sorry. But yeah, I thought there were scenes. She was great. Like because she's struggling really because apparently she wasn't supposed to have this kid that she did because she's apparently part of this order. And yeah, I mean she's just scared for her son, but she can't disobey certain people. And I thought there were some great scenes with that. I wasn't a huge fan of Jason Momoa. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I want to go through the cast one by one, but I have because
it's
it's
crazy.
ridiculous.
Yeah, sorry,
but because I thought you literally were just going to say that you didn't enjoy Rebecca Ferguson's performance, I have written down on my notes here the cast, and for me, and I talked about this as well with a friend last night. If anyone's going to get nominated for this film, and I'm saying this is a very, very specific thing, and I'm not even saying that it's like that it's a good thing, but I'm saying like people who should get Oscar nominated for that. And once again, I'm not saying like that's what should happen and that's the greatest thing that could happen. But as an Oscar-worthy performance, I could only see Rebecca Ferguson from this film.
I think I gotta think about this for a second, but maybe. I thought also the woman playing the head of the sisterhood or whatever that does the pain test, I thought she was great as well.
Well, she's got such little screen time.
Yeah. That is
Charlotte Rampling,
one thing. But yeah, I guess from like the main cast, I gotta agree. Unless I come up with another name in the next couple of days, but
in the next couple of days,
yeah, right now I gotta say, yeah.
Well, I mean, the argument could be that it's Chalamet. He is the star of the film.
He's good in the role that he has, but I couldn't imagine him being, especially like nominated in a leading role category. Whereas I could imagine Rebecca Ferguson being nominated as Best Supporting Actress.
Yeah, I thought she was excellent. This is definitely her best performance that I've seen, and I'm saying that. Not because I am enamored with her, because I really thought she was really, really terrific in this film, especially that scene when she's reacting outside the room when the pain test is happening.
Yeah, I agree.
And other scenes too.
I thought like the Harkonians, I think they're called, which is another like clan. I thought some parts there were really cool, especially the design of one of the main bad guys played by Stellan Skarsgård. We talked about this. It really reminds me of Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now, which is a big compliment.
Yes, and he actually he did channel him. I saw an interview, and that was exactly what he was going for. Yep.
Oh, cool. Well, he pulled it off. He really did.
He was so good, man. I loved him. He was
really good. Yeah, the design was really cool, and you got the polka dot man from Suicide Squad in there, and
David Dastmalchian.
And of course, not a big. Well, I'm sure he's going to play even a bigger part in the second movie is Dave Bautista, for example.
Yeah. I mean, if we go through the cast, I mean, Javier Bardem
didn't have a lot of screen time, sadly.
No.
But, yeah.
I mean, same
huge
thing
actor.
with Zendaya.
Yeah. Which is too bad. We talked about this. I was really looking forward to her in this movie.
Yeah.
Because I really like her.
Yeah.
Didn't have a lot of screen time. Nope. I am sure it's going to be like a whole lot more her film in the second part.
Yeah.
I think she's going to play a vital role, but yeah, so far not a lot from her, but you get a lot from Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin, yeah, I thought he was a bit underused though. I mean, he didn't really have that much to do. He's got that one scene where he trains Chalamet.
I mean, it's a big cast.
No, for sure.
We'll see how much more of a role he'll play. Does he? I don't know. I'm not really sure what happens with him in this movie.
Well, let's not get into spoilers.
Sure. Yeah.
No, but we haven't given anything away.
I mean, yeah. Who else do we have here?
Well, Oscar Isaac for me was amazing too. I thought he was perfectly cast. Especially, I could also actually see, like, I can't buy Rebecca Ferguson as Timothée Chalamet's mother.
Oh, you can't?
No, just because of the age. There's no way. How Rebecca Ferguson is like what? 37?
Yeah, but
and Chalamet is what, 26?
I read like Paul in the novel is supposed to be 15, so I guess they would change the age.
Oh, is he supposed to be like that young? Oh.
They probably making out to be like 18 in the movie, which would make sense. She could be like in her late 30s, for example. I mean, she's also not his wife; she's the concubine, like they said in the movie. Who knows? Maybe she got him very young. So I think it could work out.
Dude, I loved their relationship. I'm just saying, like, from an outside, if you tell me that Rebecca Ferguson, the actress, is Timothée Chalamet's mother, I would be struggling to buy that. And Oscar Isaac is not even, he's like 5 years older, he's 42. But I think they actually look alike in some way, Timothy and Oscar. In some,
yeah, you think so? I mean, maybe a bit about the eyes. There was this one scene at the graveyard where they talked, and at first I wasn't sure about that, but then when I looked at them as well, like a bit of the like curly hair, like the eyes, I could buy it. Sure.
Yeah, I really thoroughly enjoyed Oscar Isaac's performance, and once again, I hate bringing this up because it is so unnecessary. But actually, thinking about it and talking about it now, I wouldn't be mad if he gets nominated too. But you could even argue that Dune isn't even a film that gets Oscar nominations for acting things. It's going to get nominated for sound and for cinematography, and all those
special
things.
effects, maybe
best directing for stretching it, but not because I'm saying that from history, he's not really won a lot, unfortunately.
Sadly, I mean, it could win for best not set design. What is the category called? Production design.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, maybe costume though. The costumes were very similar to the David Lynch movie, and apparently he took inspiration from that. Since in the original novels, they wear more mundane clothes, like military uniforms and helmets, and there it's more sci-fi stuff they wear. I'm not a huge fan of all the costumes. I thought some of them looked cool, others less so. They looked like, I don't know, a bit too like a person at Comic-Con, if you get what I mean.
I guess, yeah. But I enjoyed it because comparing it to the Lynch one too, the Lynch one felt very like pompous too.
Sure.
And this whole film feels very, very gritty and grounded and like dirty.
Groundless. Yeah.
And I enjoyed that aspect of it. Yeah.
Also, like what I did, like the design of, first of all, like the military uniform, like the things that Chalamet wore in an everyday like situation, not compared to like the environmental suits. Like those costumes I did really like, and also the things that the people wore on the planet. I really like that. I also like the very Arabian touch there, and also the music that plays there. And apparently that was a big influence on the movie, and the music there, like the theme of the planet.
Yeah, the music is great. But finishing off the cast, I mean, we talked about Batista, right? Did you mention him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got Skarsgård, Momoa.
I actually really enjoyed Momoa. I like Duncan Idaho. You mentioned you didn't really enjoy him, but I actually... It's an interesting...
Right.
Yeah, I thought his relationship with Timothée Chalamet, with Paul, was really sweet, and the way that he's trying to protect him at all costs.
Sure.
But I actually got to say, like, the fight scenes themselves, right? You got this whole aspect of this, like, shield. You activate the shield and it's got like a blue thing around you. Looks cool, looks sci-fi, and that was also in the trailer, and I was like, man, it's going to be interesting. Felt completely useless, that thing, first of all, because you're going to get killed by a fatal blow anyway. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it helps a bit, and it's apparently also part of the books, I would think, because it was also a big part in the David Lynch version, where they used very badly made polygons above, like on their bodies. You remember?
Barely. I told you this before. I don't think I can. I think the first Dune film, or the Lynch version, is one of the films that I forgot almost all of it. Like I can barely remember anything, and that's not really saying.
Except for Sting.
Except for Sting, yeah. Except for a half-naked Sting.
Apparently, he should have had a cameo in this movie, but they decided against it.
Weird.
And I am so glad about this. It just wouldn't match with like Denis Villeneuve's style. To just put unnecessary like cameos and Easter eggs in there. Yeah,
but I'm mentioning the whole shield thing because for me, a bit of a letdown thinking about this film were the actual like fight scenes, the whole like hand-to-hand combat that felt a little bit like those couldn't live up with the epicness of everything else. It just felt like, okay, here's a nice little sword fighting scene that's a minute of swords hitting each other, and then all the people falling to the ground. Basically, those for whatever reason those didn't really work for me. Or they didn't feel grand, which is maybe a hard thing to do. And why should every little thing be grand? But it just kind of it sticks out to me the more I think about it.
Yeah, I kind of get it. I remember thinking in the cinema when some of the bigger action scenes happened, I thought like, oh, this is interesting. I wasn't that into it as well. I thought like, did Villeneuve do like action scenes? And I thought of like Sicario, and they had some amazing scenes, very fast paced, very very thrilling. And comparing it to that, I did prefer the Sicario scenes, maybe because they weren't in such a grand scale, and also they were like firefights and not hand-to-hand combat, which is always harder to pull off. Of course, like the whole choreography is way harder, probably.
Right. They were a lot more tense, the Sicario scenes.
Yeah.
It's less like 100% action, and just like the build-up of Sicario makes it so great.
Yeah. Yeah, I do agree. Fight scenes weren't like the highlight of this movie, definitely.
Yeah.
What I did really like was the design of like the helicopters.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Things. The sound of those were also amazing. And sorry, one of my favorite scenes was also like the infiltration drone that comes for Paul. That scene where he like goes behind the holograph to hide.
Yeah,
really liked that scene.
Why
tense.
doesn't that thing come out when he's sleeping?
I didn't know.
Feels a bit. I mean, he's been waiting to use that for 4 weeks, if I remember correctly. Why do it when he's up? Just do it when he's sleeping.
Well, maybe he ran out of water. He had to do it now or never. He looked kind of dead when they found him.
Yeah, he did kind of look dead. Yeah. But we got to talk about the sandworms, because those were fucking amazing. They really were.
I mean, that's like the most iconic part of Dune, probably.
Yeah. And they were just insane. It did feel like after the third reveal, a bit like, I get it. I know what these things look like. But especially the first scene where you see the sandworm, the whole thing where they're trying to extract that mining rig, and it doesn't work, and they have to sort of land and get everyone on board. That scene was one of my favorite scenes too. That was amazing. And then the whole reveal of the worm at the end is just gorgeous filmmaking.
I really like the setup as well. I think that was actually my favorite part of the worm, where they first see it like way in the distance. There's the stress because, you know, when it's here, there's nothing you can do, so you have to get the fuck out of there. And they're like these like big, majestic, almost like mythological creatures off this planet that everybody like respects because there's nothing you can do about them.
Yeah.
And they have to like plan their way of living around them. And just the thing like coming closer and closer, and the way it does eat, like the way they orchestrated that, I thought like very cool and very menacing. Like this whole just opening up from underground, really cool design. Yeah.
They had like a whole team just building those sandworms for like multiple years, I think. So insane. I mean, this movie, we're talking about just the production, we could talk about it for hours. It's just insane. Apparently there's very little green screen in the whole thing. So much is actually like practical. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It's insane, man. And I'm actually baffled that it's quote unquote only 165 mil, which is a ridiculous thing to say. I'm aware, but man, it looks even more expensive, and that's one of the best things I could say about this film. It's epic in every way, and as you said before, you got to watch this in theaters. There's no way, because it's coming out in the States, obviously, in a month. We get this quite early here, and it comes out simultaneously on streaming too at HBO Max. And as you said, Villeneuve hates that, and I completely get that. Don't watch Dune at home on an iPhone. It's really not the best way to watch that film.
But one last question about this movie, since you weren't like, you do like this movie very much, you're not so sure about the story and all.
Yeah.
But like, how has it left you? Do you like have like an urge to go back and watch it again, or do you like feel like you got to just wait for the second one to come out and then maybe revisit it before part 2 drops?
I don't yet have the urge to rewatch it. I could see myself going back before it leaves theaters. Not even IMAX, maybe in just like a smaller screening that's cheaper. But the thing with waiting for the second one is as well, I want nothing more than Denis Villeneuve doing something else. Right? But I'm also, I don't want anyone else to do Dune Part 2.
Sure.
So I'm in this weird little space where I'm actually like, I want the movie to do well. I want to see Part 2. I want to see what my favorite director wants to make. But on the other hand, he's got like projects in the pipeline with like Gyllenhaal again, The Sun, which has been in the pipeline for years. And there was one other thing I think as well. I just want to, because he also talked about this, he doesn't really want to, I think I remember this correctly, that he said like after Dune, he wants to go back to doing like a little bit, the films on a little bit of smaller scale.
Yeah.
But now he's doing Dune Part 2 next, if everything goes well, which is anything but a small film. So I kind of want to see him go back to his roots, doing these smaller little crime thrillers. But once again, I'm looking forward to the second one. I don't know. How about you?
I agree with what you just said, as in, there are other things that I would maybe rather watch from Villeneuve, just because some of my favorite movies, although I absolutely love Blade Runner, are like his intimate like thrillers, such as Prisoners and The Sun, the movie that he might be doing with Gyllenhaal, sounds real cool, which is what I would love to see. But yeah, if anybody has to do this, it is Villeneuve, and I think if they announce like Part 2 is made by I don't know who, could still be cool, but the reason I want to watch it is because of Villeneuve. I love this movie, not necessarily because of the story, because it is Villeneuve. It just feels great. You just feel like, yeah, this is good. This is how movies are supposed to be made. And so often when you watch other things, you do kind of forget what great movies are, especially if you watch a lot of great directors. But if then you go back to like small productions, you see like, dude, this is why, for example, he or like Scorsese or other people are just great directors. It just feels way better. The editing is on point. The visuals are great. The acting is good. Everything just feels so smooth and so well. So I do hope he's going to make the second part, because otherwise the first part might be ruined just because of the second one. And yeah, he's the guy to do it. But after that, I'm also so looking forward to other maybe smaller, like more intimate stories to see from him again. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he is definitely doing the second one if it happens, which is, that's, I think that's set in stone. It's just a question of if it's happening. But
I mean, didn't they already film part of it? I would assume so, right? I mean,
I don't think so.
I think now would be probably too late. Really? Do you not think so? I mean, otherwise it would take like another 1 or 2 years.
It would take years, yes. I mean, his initial project was to shoot this film back to back, or the two films back to back. But in discussions with the studio, they decided to do the first one, see how people react to it, how much money they gain, and then decide whether or not to actually do and shoot the second one. So as far as I know, they haven't shot the second one yet. Okay. It was initially planned that way, but they didn't do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the reception seems to be great so far. I think the people who watch it because they either love the source material or they love him. And he's done great things, but I'm just worried because, yeah, same with Blade Runner.
Yep.
Everybody loved that movie. It's one of the best sci-fi movies that we've ever seen. Both of us, I think we talked about this on our sci-fi especially extensively.
Yep. Nice little plug. I'll put the link in the description.
Yeah. Didn't perform as well as it should have.
No, it didn't.
Because he does have more of an artsy kind of style than pure action movies do, which are more appealing to like broader audiences, which is too bad. So one more reason to definitely, if you do watch it, don't just watch it on your laptop somewhere on HBO or on wherever else you get your movies from. Do watch it in cinemas, because this is the kind of filmmaking that should be supported, definitely, because not everybody does movies like that, and not everybody gets the budget to do what they want, and especially not on this scale. So, yeah, watch it in cinemas.
Yeah, and it is worth the money for the spectacle on the biggest screen possible, for sure.
Definitely. Yeah,
and they're pushing the shit out of the film. I mean, it's all over the place. Yeah. I mean, they're really, from what I know, from what I've heard, even the studio, they really love the first film, and everyone involved wants to make the second one. And it's going to take years, of course. I don't expect the second one to come out maybe at the end of 2023 at the earliest.
Sounds realistic.
Yeah. But everyone is thrilled about it, and they want to see it succeed. So we could definitely urge everyone to contribute to that success, because it is. It's an epic film. It's an epic film, and I still need to digest it a little bit more. Do you want to watch it again immediately? Have you said that before? Sorry.
I might. I thought about this. I might not have time in the next couple of weeks, so I might try on Monday. If I don't manage to, I don't know if I'll have time, but I do think I'd like to do it to watch it again, just knowing what to expect once more, and just to concentrate on some of the details there. Knowing, I mean, it's hard with this movie because I knew this is not going to be just one movie. I mean, even the title card said part 1, but I didn't know where it would end, so it was kind of weird for me to anticipate. But I think knowing where and when it will end just, I don't know, experience it once more. I'd love to do that, yeah.
Yeah, but even as early as Monday. See, I need some time. I really need some time.
I feel like if I'm going to watch this, I don't know if I'll watch it alone, but I'd love to with somebody else who's interested. And then I'd love to see it.
Hit him up,
in IMAX, because it's a big spectacle. I got one more free card.
Fair enough.
So I just got my black card renewed, so I
thought
it is
fucking
use for that.
isn't it?
Yeah, like $15, and we got like a very like a bonus card, like a membership to a certain cinema chain. So yeah, I don't know what the normal price would have been, like $18. Crazy.
I think 16. But I think compared to like the States, this is actually still cheap. So I think I think it's ridiculous. But yeah. Anyway,
compared to Poland, then it's fucking expensive again.
I guess.
Or is I think it's a bit cheaper in Poland, right?
I don't know.
Last time we were there, I mean, it's been a little time, but
we didn't go to the cinema, did we?
We didn't go to the cinema. Like I don't know. Beer was cheaper there.
Yeah.
Cigarettes.
Czech Republic. That's got
Czech Republic as well.
Great cinemas.
Beautiful country. I do really like the Czech Republic.
I do. Dude, I saw Dunkirk there on the IMAX 70mm.
There we go.
Beautiful experience. Yes. I think we're we digress.
Go to Prague. Go watch Dune.
Oh, dude, definitely. If you have the time, to definitely go to Prague and watch it because they got the best IMAX. We have such shit IMAXs in Austria compared to any other IMAX. It's like the smallest screen compared to the real ones. So watch Dune on the biggest screen you can. Definitely. Yeah. Right, let's wrap this up. We're going long. We're going long.
Yeah, I think that's everything we need to say, right?
Yes. Maybe obviously we had a special next week, but in 2 weeks' time, maybe we have both seen it again. You definitely.
Maybe, yeah.
I doubt maybe we'll figure out our thoughts a little bit more and we'll talk about it a little bit more. But that's it for this week, right? Next week, special episodes. Gonna be a doozy.
Sure.
Does that mean it's gonna be sleep-inducing?
No, I think a doozy is like a good time.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
Something cool.
Something outstanding or unique of its kind.
There we go. Don't take it from us. Yeah. Take it from Google.
Take it from the dictionary. Right. That's it for me. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode and tell us what you think of Dune. Tell us what you think of Spiral. Don't watch it though. Tell us what you think, but don't watch it. We'll be back next week. And thank you so much.
Yeah,
you do it.
Thank you so much for listening. It's been a blast once again. You can check us out on pretty much any podcast platform, be it Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, etc. Check us out at Best Thing Radio on Instagram and Twitter. And you can see our thumbnail that Flo is going to once again design for us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube as our thumbnail. Consider dropping a like, a subscribe, or leaving a comment. What do you think of Dune? Have you seen it? And if not, the fuck are you waiting for? Have a great week and bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And just every time just injecting another bye at the end. It feels so wrong. It feels so wrong.
It feels great.
Bye-bye.
Bye.